Welcome back to Data Driven Value, where we show you the tools and teach you the skills to help you take your financial freedom into your own hands. So today we're going to get back into the charts, do some technical analysis, look at different assets, see if we can't figure out what kind of the markets are telling us and what might be the potential near-term price action. So we're just going to jump right into things here. We're going to start on our crypto heat map, kind of take a look at the broad asset class. So looking here, we're just looking at our top 100 coins right now on the one-day time frame. So you see here, we're about 94% green and 6% red. So a nice relief day for Bitcoin and the altcoins. Yeah, we do see a lot of green across the board here, with the exception kind of BNB and TRX Tron here, as well as Mantra. That's one we've been following that kind of has just been crazy. It's been well overextended. So, I'm not surprised to see kind of at least taking a bit of a breather today. We'll see if they can get some more of that strength back into the coin. But other than that, we can kind of flip over to the 7-day, get a better idea of kind of how things are doing on a little larger time frame. So again, we flip to the 7-day and you see that kind of we go from 96% green to 71% green, showing more weakness kind of across different assets here. So you can see, just mixed results across the board. We do see BNB in the last 7 days performing very well here, up 13%. We can also flip to our 14-day. Again, we just want to get a really good sense. So here's where it kind of really starts to show you the broad kind of performance on a higher time frame. So that's why the high time frame is important, because you look here on the 14-day, essentially we're 93% in the red. So even despite the last week and day of upwards price action, overall for the last 2 weeks, the majority of the asset class is down. Some of them are down quite a bit here too. If we flip to kind of our percentage losers, so just taking a look, ranking them based on kind of, over the last 14 days, everything's taken quite a beating here. So you look, obviously Athena down 40%, lots of different cryptos down 30 to 40%. Anyway, the majority of them also down like 25%. Like these are all pretty big coins in here. So yeah, not surprised to kind of see a nice relief day, but we do want to make sure that we're getting that bottom structure, that reversal, and then hopefully get another leg to the upside. But yeah, we want to make sure that we're getting confirmation on the charts first. But you can see here, basically, even if we look at the top 200, essentially in the last 2 weeks, top 200 coins, everything like quite red, down 50%, 40%. So yeah, we will try to get a better idea of how things look over there. We'll flip here quickly. I just want to take a look at our crypto risk dashboard here. So it's sitting at 0.392 overall risk. Looking really good from a cycle perspective, as long as nothing kind of happens that derails the macroeconomic side of things, or kind of nothing throws a wrench into our traditional cycle theory. So you guys I have talked about left translated versus right translated cycles. Unfortunately, we're not going to know which is which until it actually plays out. So for now, we just follow the charts, we follow our metrics, and we just, so take it day by day, essentially. You see here though, yeah, nice to have the kind of the crypto risk indicators coming down a little bit, fear and greed coming down. Social interest still very low. We talked about the social interest kind of requirement for those mania phases, those altcoin seasons that we really want to see. But generally, yeah, we're looking pretty good across the board here with just an overall risk kind of under neutral. So yeah, definitely looking good, assuming we do get that played out remainder of the cycle. Flipping over to the charts, I'll look at some macro charts here really quick. We're going to get into more individual assets, but obviously the macro is going to play a huge part into what's going to happen in the near term in the markets. So taking a look at the dollar, so yeah, obviously we want to see the dollar breaking down in a downwards trend for our risk assets to really outperform. So this is looking pretty interesting here, and looks good for our risk assets. We see on the weekly chart, so the higher time frame, we're heading towards that bearish cross on the MACD, heading towards a bit of a bearish cross on the RSI, and then this is also what we want to see, but eventually we want to see this DMI minus line, so the orange line here, we want to see that get on top of the blue DMI plus line, and then also on top of kind of this ADX line here. So I just kind of want to point out some similarities. What we saw essentially in the MACD on this kind of over here, it's a little different because right now we've got a higher high and this is a lower macro high, whereas here we kind of had the high, the second high, like a double top high here, and then we actually put in another high right here, but you can see that kind of the down sloping trend line, lower high on the RSI, as well as kind of the DMI setup down here and the MACD setup. So look at these lower highs. So what what I want to show you, kind of looking at this, similar to what we saw here, you know, we're also maybe potentially seeing something like that over here. So just pay attention to that. Obviously, if we get that orange line, you see right as the orange line got above the blue line here, and it was supported by that red ADX line, that's what marked the first downtrend leg here. So we did find support, go up, put in that higher high over here, and then ultimately breaking down again before the dollar found its lows and rallied up to new highs from that kind of 2021 point here. So if we're looking at this essentially in a similar situation, you know, we might see if this is breaking down here, if we break down, maybe come to support here. Also, we can look at our Fibonacci retracement and see if what might be a likely area of bounce we see here. So yeah, kind of coming back 618. We'd put in that lower low here. So again, that's going to be ideal for that continued breakdown. So look for something kind of to play out like this with the dollar. We come in, put in that lower low, we put in a higher or a lower high, and then that's going to be our kind of confirmed macro lower high, lower low, and then potential to reverse that structure back to the downside. So again, we just want to see the dollar breaking down. Essentially, we are seeing signs of that on the weekly. The daily looks, yeah, that's good too, our DMI. So right here, this is what I'm talking about. You want that negative DMI line right here to be going up and supported by the ADX line. So as soon as that ADX line crosses this blue line, that's a definitely a bearish trend signal there. And then we do see, if we're looking at it on the daily chart here, you do see lower low, lower high, lower low. So yeah, again, watch for that subsequent lower high, you know, confirmation of likely continued downtrend, and then we can hopefully start to see a bit of strength return to our risk assets. Things have been a little stagnant lately, so yeah, it's just been kind of range bound in a lot of different things. But flipping over, we do see the US 10-year down 1.6%. We're not going to get too far into that today. I'm just going to touch on the SPY. Obviously here, bullish setup, look at that. So yeah, that positive DMI line getting on top of the orange line. We want to see the ADX line curling up, supporting that move. We do see a bounce off of the RSI as well as a bounce off of the MACD. So you can see here, we don't always get those bearish crosses here. It can bounce and continue higher. And so what I want to see here, essentially, we have kind of taken out these highs right here. So we were in a bit of a low time frame downtrend. I'll flip over to the 4-hour here. You can see this is the trend we were watching. So we've broken these highs, we're come up into resistance here. So what we got to watch here is a potential for somewhat, it could be a triple top. We're not going to know until we actually have confirmation. So again, the play isn't to be buying into the SPY right here. Instead, we're going to wait for a couple opportunities. Either we're going to reject, you know, we might come back down to a Fibonacci retracement again. That would look something like, you know, it's just going to be rough. Obviously, we're going to have to adjust it if the rally tops out any higher. But if this comes back down to its Fibonacci retracement here, you know, even just back testing this support zone, look for a potential for the SPY to come back, bounce, take out these highs, confirm, and then up from there. So again, the play here is not to be buying right now because we want to make sure that we're getting confirmation. So we're either going to break out cleanly here and then back test it as well, or we're going to get rejected, put in a new higher, hopefully a new higher low, and then attempt those highs a second time. Again, because we wait for confirmation, that's why it's just safer. You know, we could just get rejected here. So, you know, this entry right over here is going to be very similar to the entry here. So by waiting for confirmation, you're going to get a similar entry as well. You're going to have way less risk with that trade. The SPY looking good on the low time frame here. As long as we can hold this uptrend structure, then we could get a push out and then continue to new highs. You see, we have our VRVP. So this is our volume shelf acting as support right through here. Again, we want to just hold this as support, and up from there is just kind of price discovery. It's hard to say where it might top out, but again, we'll take a look at our momentum indicators, all supporting kind of that thesis again on the low time frame of this breakout. So I think we might be able to get a little bit more of a leg up here, but you do see that DMI plus line curling back over. So, you know, it might be running out of a little bit of steam into resistance again. Watch for that higher low and then watch for that continued move following up into this resistance again. Flipping over, we'll take a look at TLT real quick. Obviously doing well today again. So you guys know my thoughts on TLT. I've talked about this before. We came down kind of just below our 786 here, but able to, decent little buy here, bounce, reverse that downtrend structure. So here's where we see that higher high, higher low, higher high, higher low. So we are in that technical uptrend. We came back, bounced from our 618 Fibonacci here, from this swing low to this swing high, and now we're currently breaking out of this long downtrend. So nice to see TLT with some strength here. Decent little 3% move. It doesn't seem crazy, but for a very unvolatile asset, it's it's a good move. And yeah, we want to see this continued breakout. Hopefully we are able to kind of take out these highs right here. Yeah, so watch for that. And what we want to see again, confirmation, breakout, retest, and then we're up and off to the races. You're getting in on that confirmed back test of the downtrend, assuming that our momentum indicators can support that move up. So we look here again. So that looks pretty good. We do see that ADX line coming up here. And yeah, so looking good on our momentum indicators on the low time frame. Taking a look at the slightly higher time frame, also looks pretty good. We did get that bullish cross of the two DMI lines here. So again, just pay attention. We do see on the very high time frame, we're just breaking out of this downtrend here. And yeah, hopefully breakout, retest, and we're off on the next leg there. Flipping over to Bitcoin really quick. Again, showing some strength today. We'll flip just to the low time frame. We do see we're kind of stuck in a bit of this downward channel here. So we will see, obviously, you want to see this breakout and kind of retest and support. But for now, kind of just sideways consolidation, downwards consolidation. Not the most bullish setup in terms of the momentum indicators right now. So we'll just be watching this. Again, I would rather wait for that breakout and confirm back test, higher low, continuation play. Otherwise, we just might end up at the bottom of this channel again, somewhere in the low 90s. You guys kind of know my thoughts. I'm pretty much building swing positions in the low 90s for Bitcoin, and then I'm also looking to start a larger spot position kind of down in the mid 80s to mid 70s if we do revisit those regions. It's not guaranteed, so just keep an eye on everything. Flipping over to gold, seeing here kind of a bit of a double top on gold, so a little bit of a bearish kind of indicator on the momentum indicators here. Yeah, so yeah, this is all looking pretty bearish. So gold due for a correction here. We will see there is this low right here. If they lose this low, then they are in kind of that risk of confirming and going into that low time frame downtrend. I have pointed out gold is very overextended right now on this Fibonacci basis. So essentially we could come back and then look at this big downtrend breakout here. So if we came back, even if we retested, 2700 with the potential to come back to about 2660, 2650, might be a good place to pick up gold, or look at gold miners if you're bullish on gold. But that being said, silver was doing well today, popped up, still in that technical uptrend. Looks pretty good. Good setup on the momentum indicators, and then just watch for resistance of silver up here at $31, $32. If I was in silver, I'm not personally, but if I was in silver and had bought kind of at these lower targets, I might look to take some profits up around here. It has kind of been lagging gold as well, so just interesting to watch. We'll flip over again, more charts over here. So we'll take a look at Bitcoin dominance. Again, we want to make sure that dominance is looking topped for our altcoins to go on to outperform. So this is exactly what we want to see, guys. We had this bull flag, we broke down, we back tested, we got rejected, and we're in that downtrend structure. But right now we're in this higher time frame Fibonacci golden zone. So this is actually an area where it does have the potential to bounce and reverse price action. So if we were to see that, essentially you would see this high get taken out, that lower high, and then we would be able to kind of go up and maybe attack some of these more resistance levels up here. Essentially, if we take our Fibonacci from the top to the low here, we can see, this 618 kind of comes in at 62%, and the 786 comes in at about 63% dominance. So we could even see dominance really pump back up to this region here, and then that's where that actual macro lower high ends up being, and then we just break down from there. That being said, we could just have a continued breakdown from the current price action, so we'll just be watching that as well. And again, waiting for that confirmation. We look at our momentum indicators, looking at the 4 hour. it actually looks pretty oversold, so we're due for a bounce. But again, we want to make sure that we're not taking out these highs. Ideally, just maintaining the downtrend structure. Other than that, so alts technically could go on a little bit of a run if this continues to break down. That being said, just recognize it is at high time frame Fibonacci support, and it is quite oversold on all these momentum indicators. So again, we could get another little leg up by Bitcoin dominance, which would kind of hurt alts in the near term. Flipping over to ETH Bitcoin, kind of just in this bear flag consolidation structure, it does look like it's trying to break out a little bit. But that being said, again, you guys know my thoughts. We wait for confirmation. So if we see here, kind of on the 4 hour, we have put in, you know, those higher lows, but we weren't able to take out the high here. So again, we're just gonna have to put in more work, more consolidation, really print that reversal uptrend structure, and then look for kind of a more risk-adjusted entry when we do get confirmation here. We take a look, we can kind of see, we'll just pull a trend line here and then there, and we'll take our trend line from here and there. So yeah, essentially just in this wedge, we want to see breakout, back test. That's the entry you're looking for, supported by the momentum indicators at the time. So yeah, ETH Bitcoin doing its work, but again, still needs to put in more. Total 3 USD actually looking decent here, although it is a little bit kind of getting a little bit on the more bearish side for the momentum indicators on the 4 hour. We do see though it is maintaining that uptrend structure on the 4 hour. So as long as it holds these lows here at 886 billion for total market cap, the alts can continue going up on their US dollar pairs. Flipping over to others dominance here, we do see again it is also kind of, we did take out this high initially, but we put in a lower high here. So again, just more consolidation to do. Essentially we have our higher low, so that's our lower high, so kind of repeat here. So again, higher low, higher high, look for that higher low again, supported by the indicators. But again, we're looking at our momentum indicators on the 4 hour, and it doesn't look great. We could be due for that correction, and then we need to make sure that we're holding these lows. Otherwise, we kind of just have more consolidating to do. Again, just wait for confirmation. It's going to always be less risk in the long term. We flip over to the daily. You can see, you can't even see the reversal structure on the daily. So that's kind of why I talked to you guys about looking at different time frames. I want to see confirmation on the daily to the weekly chart for kind of a high time frame or macro move, and it is going to take a little bit longer to play out on this daily chart. You'll start to see signs on the lower time frames, but again, we're really waiting for that confirmation on the daily chart before making any major decisions. Flipping over to Ethereum here, looks pretty good. This, I kind of had a bit of an idea of a scalp trade here, just oversold here across these indicators on the daily. Flipping over to the 4 hour, you know, it's not looking great, so I'm actually gonna not take this trade here. It's just a little too risky right now. We don't have that confirmation. We didn't take out this high, so I'm not gonna take the excess risk. Again, all I kind of see here is just more consolidation. We're stuck in this wedge. You see lots of space here, kind of between the volume shelf. So if we do get a breakout of Ethereum, you know, look for it to go up towards maybe 3,000, and then there's a lot of resistance there before coming back testing these lower areas, and then hopefully going and getting a more sustained leg up. And again, we're just waiting for that confirmation, not rushing into anything. Flipping over to Ondo, that's another one I'm pretty bullish on long term, but again, we're looking at this kind of wedge that it's in, or this down sloping trend line, just consolidating. So either we're going to come back to kind of this zone here, the 127, kind of 129. That might be a bit of a swing position, but ultimately we're saving our larger spot buys for Ondo, kind of down closer to $1.10 to $1.20, as well as if we flip over to our higher time frame here, so flip to the high time frame, and then we have another level of support rate here at 90 cents. So again, you guys know my thoughts in terms of positions. Swing is the higher risk position. You know, you're going to weight your buys a little bit lower, and then this is kind of a more of an accumulation position here based on Fibonacci support as well as horizontal support through here. And then this is the high time frame 786 Fibonacci right here, 93 cents. That's going to offer good cycle value. Flipping over to Pepe here. So Pepe, it looks sorry, we'll flip over to the 12-hour. The chart's not going to be the most detailed because it is the Coinbase one, so they haven't been trading on Coinbase that long. That being said, though, we do see kind of here, the indicators not looking the most promising. So we'll flip to the low time frame. Essentially, we did come here. This is kind of what I expected to happen with Pepe. This bit of a reversal price action. So we did see the higher high, higher low, higher high, higher low. We did enter a position here, that swing position. I've entered that in my Telegram group. I'm currently just holding that right now. We did see, but that was a lower high. So we did put in the higher low, lower high again. So with this position, what I'm going to do, move the stop loss up below this low right here. Maybe even just a little bit down there. Essentially, if this kind of plays out, if we come back down and we lose this low, I'm worried about, again, continued downtrend price action. I would rather cut my trade right here at a very minimal loss rather than kind of riding the sustained downtrend. What you can also do, if it comes down here and bounces, you can get out on the bounce. But that being said, there's no guarantee that it is going to bounce here. So just by moving that stop loss up below this prior low, it's just going to help mitigate being caught on the downside of this move. And then if we do get a little pump up, then we are still in our position and we can capitalize on that, not risking too much and waiting again for confirmation before we take these trades. Flipping over to XRP, looking pretty good, beautiful breakout of this wedge here, higher high, higher low structure. Watch for kind of, again, this back test here somewhere in this region. You might be looking for a position in XRP. Looking pretty good. We'll take a look obviously at the momentum indicator. So still everything is going to look a little bit more overbought, or a little bit more overbought kind of on the low time frame, and then oversold on the high time frame. Coming over to Tau. So Tau, another one. This is another one we're waiting for confirmation. So you see we did kind of reverse that price action here. We want to see that breakout, back test, entering on the back test. And we got support stacked here with the volume shelf. We've got our moving averages here. We've got this down sloping trend line. And our momentum indicators are actually looking a lot better than some of the other positions. So Tau is one I'm really interested in. But again, we want to see breakout, take out this high, higher low, enter on the higher low, and then stop loss below here just to kind of protect that position. I'll show you here quickly. You take a long if you look in here. So this is where your stop loss is going to be, just below this low here, protecting the position. And then we will take a different kind of take profit target. Obviously, I'll chart that as it comes, but still wait for that confirmation, higher low, and then look to get in on the back test. FET kind of just consolidating, not looking as good as Tau in my opinion. So I'm still just waiting on FET. Again, we want to get confirmation. Moving on. Virtual doing well today, breaking out of this long downtrend. Again, look for that higher low. It could be a decent little swing position if you get in kind of around here, mid 130s, but make sure again you have a stop loss protecting that position below support. Flipping over to Solana. Again, breaking out, but look at this, guys. We're not able to kind of just take out these highs here. So again, more consolidating to do. We still don't have confirmation. Wait for confirmation. Everything kind of similar. Link here in this channel. Sorry, coming down, bounced from our marked support zone a few times here, holding the low, higher low. So again, if we get that higher low here, you could take a position in Link. Stop loss maybe in here somewhere. Again, these are all kind of swing positions for now until we get confirmation in Ethereum, Bitcoin, or others, or total 3, then I'm really thinking of alts as swing position opportunities and not looking to get too crazy or take too much risk. I am still pretty heavy in cash, about 40% cash position, so I'm looking to take advantage of substantial retracements, and I have enough exposure in the market, especially at current prices, where if the market goes up, I'm still going to be very happy with the returns, but if the market goes down, I'm going to be pretty mad if I don't have the money to buy the dip, especially in my core conviction assets. Those are what I want to build positions in for the long term over a period of years. So really just, making sure that you're prepared for every outcome. You're ready to capitalize on the upside, and then you're also prepared to be able to capitalize to the downside as well. So by using swing positions when there's a lot of chop in the market and we're not too sure of the overall direction, it just lets me keep exposure or add more exposure to the market while utilizing a lot of stop losses to kind of protect the risk to the downside. A lot of my spot positions, I don't necessarily use stop losses because I'm not really worried about getting wicked wicked out on those. And if they do drop below kind of my cost basis or drop back towards my cost basis, then I'm just going to follow through with the same strategy I did originally and add to those positions. So link here obviously still needs to do some work to take out these highs and lows, really print that reversal structure, coming into quite a bit of resistance there. Injective, you know, looking a little bit better again, was able to come back down here. So we got that higher high, or sorry, higher low, higher high, higher low, higher high, higher low, but then the lower high here, we were able to keep it. So again, watch for that higher low here. Might be a decent position in injective, but again, the momentum indicator is not necessarily supporting it on the low time frame, but kind of on the high time frame. If we do see it come back to these levels, just be careful. There is the potential that we see a breakdown in altcoins, something like this, where we actually lose these levels of support. So, you know, just like we can break to the upside, the same thing can happen to the downside. But again, you need to be prepared for either. By watching the price action and watching these momentum indicators, you get a better idea of if we're likely to reject and break down, or if we're likely to break out and come back and put in that higher macro low. Doge here, breaking out of this little bear flag that we saw from our support zone here that we marked. You know, looking really good. Actually looks pretty good on the momentum indicators. Again, looking better than some of the other ones. Decent volume coming in here on that big wick down. But again, we want to see that confirmation, guys. So I'll say it over and over. We just want to see confirmation. We want to be sure that the trend is going to move in our favor and support our thesis here. So we just need to see if we come back here. You know, we need to hold this down sloping trend line as support. Ideally, again, putting in that higher low. If we do put in the higher low on Doge, you could take a swing position here as well. So looking at a swing position on Doge, you know, you might be entering somewhere around here. Stop loss, you know, below these lows, below this trend line, and maybe you're just riding it kind of back up to resistance here. Let's see what might make sense. If we take our Fibonacci, so I'm going to show you guys again, this is how I find resistance from a Fibonacci high to low. So from this high to this low here, pulling that fib level, and often, you know, the 0.5, 618, and 786 again often act as resistance. So if we go to our 618, looking here, that's a pretty good trade here, 31% to the upside and risk of kind of just shy of 8% to the downside, a 3.96 risk reward ratio. But again, wait for that higher low confirmation supported by our momentum indicators on the low time frame before entering that trade. Looking at Litecoin, had it again bumped up into resistance. So again, guys, this is why we wait for confirmation. You know, if people are thinking of buying into Litecoin up here, it's really not the play when you're coming into resistance. We do see obviously the momentum indicators a little bit overheated, and we're just stuck under resistance. So we were able to break out of here, lost this low. So really just trying to put in that reversal structure over here. If we take a look at our daily chart, zoom it out. Yeah, so right here, looking pretty good, but again, you see we're not able to take out these highs. So look for the higher low, and then we get another kind of attempt up there. Not super interested in Litecoin, but they do have the potential to be approved for an ETF kind of in the next year or so, depending what happens with all those crypto ETFs. So Litecoin could do well, but we'll flip over to SUI here. SUI's looking pretty good as well. Kind of coming down here, we have a downtrend breakout. So yeah, broke out of this downtrend. Again, watch for the higher low bounce here. And we do see the momentum indicators looking better again with SUI. So SUI again is one I'm going to be interested on kind of coming into that back test, higher low swing trade there. I do like it a little bit more than some of the other altcoins, similar to Tau. Also BNB. So BNB is making huge moves right now. Watch for that entry in BNB. I mean, don't fade them. They are one of the biggest exchanges. Definitely in Asia, they are the most utilized exchange. So definitely pay attention to BNB. They've been a big player for so long. So yeah, but again, we did see them come up, you know, reject up here. So I just think we come back and try to put in that higher macro low somewhere around, you know, 555 up to about 600. Look for that. Moving over to Marathon, we did come down to our upsloping trend line, looking very oversold across all these indicators, getting a little bounce, but again, we're just kind of stuck in this downsloping trend line, so we want to see that confirmation of a higher low and likely continued upside. Looking at CleanSpark, looks a little bit better than Mara here. The momentum indicators, our MACD is a little bit more overbought here, but it's still looking good. RSI can still support it. DMI looks really good, actually. So if we flip here, just been bouncing around this support zone, coming back up to our 786. So again, watch for that higher low. If we can get that higher low, you might look at adding to CleanSpark, kind of in the mid $10 range for that continued move to the upside. Coming over to MicroStrategy, also just consolidating again, kind of right within this range that we were targeting. So we do again want to see higher highs, higher lows for that continued move to the upside. But for now, like in terms of a swing position for MicroStrategy, it's not the worst time to buy. That being said, there is this gap fill rate down here towards 280, and then we have support down here around 208. So swing position for MicroStrategy in here potentially, but potentially probably waiting for confirmation. I personally will wait for confirmation and then kind of taking that trade there. Otherwise, looking at spot positions further down. Taking a look at Tesla. Tesla had a nice little bounce here. So I did share kind of a potential path of Tesla onto my Telegram group here. We did bounce kind of right from where I had expected. Get a little bit of relief, but we are into these down sloping moving averages here. Looks to be rejecting lower high. So again, we need to see that higher low, higher high, higher low confirmation before we can assume a continued breakout or continued kind of trend reversal for Tesla. So again, just watching it, not getting too crazy, but we do see that the Fibonacci support acted pretty well there. Flipping over to Dell. Dell is one I was watching. Kind of again, we're just in this downtrend here. Trying to break out of it here. Nice little bounce off the 786 Fibonacci. So again, watch for the higher low on Dell here. And then again, what I'm going to say is wait for confirmation. So if we come back here and put in the higher low, and we put in a higher high, and then we put in the higher low here, that's going to be where your entry is. Again, confirmation is always going to remove a lot of the risk in the trade. So again, wait for your entry here after confirmation, and maybe you just take profits up here into this resistance. It's still a good swing trade. So yeah, just paying attention to that one, and again, waiting for confirmation. I do like Dell as a potential AI play going forward in the future. Flipping over to NVIDIA, we do see them breaking up here into support, so bouncing from this buy level down here that we targeted, and nice little move into resistance. If you're in this trade, it might be worth it taking a little bit of profits here just because we're into massive resistance, and that was a nice little move here. We're still in kind of that downtrend structure. We haven't reversed it or confirmed yet. So again, we're not confirmed down or confirmed reversal to the upside. So it doesn't hurt to take profits. Otherwise, a lot of the times the market will take it from you. That being said, you could also use stop losses. It's really up to you, your own personal risk tolerance. I just like to pay myself a little bit on each trade when I can, especially if they're short-term trades. I'm a lot more conservative. I'm using my short-term trades to build cash positions so I can buy long-term trades, and then essentially just repeating and recycling that there. We do see here Intel got a nice little pop there, basically on news that there's going to be prioritization of US-based chip manufacturers. So looking at Intel, I would look kind of, if we take our Fibonacci tool, I'll show you right here from this low to this high, and our entry rate so we'll drag our entry down a little bit, kind of more to our Fibonacci zone. Looking at that, so again, we want to see Intel come back here and put in that higher low rate here, and then continue up, because right here you see this is where we kind of reverse our structure. Higher high, higher low, higher high. So if we print a higher low here, look at this support through the volume shelf. We have all of this horizontal support down here. So I think this could be a decent risk-adjusted swing trade for Intel, holding it up into the Fibonacci resistance up here, and with confluence of that down sloping trend line. So watch for that confirmation rate around here and look for that entry. Flipping over to Baba, another one, again, just coming right into resistance. So great trade here. I've been in Baba for months now, and so basically, spot position, I'm going to take a lot of my profits off the table. Basically, it has played out as I planned. I mean, obviously, I missed some of this move here, but that's okay. That's why you don't take all your profits. When you hit your targets, sometimes, maybe you just take 50, 60, 70% off the table, pay yourself, and then you have a little bit left on the table in case it keeps running. Then you can use like a stop loss or a trailing stop loss to protect those gains. But yeah, just definitely taking profits on Baba right now. It's a really good run in such a short amount of time. So yeah, don't really fade those short-term profits because a lot of the time, sometimes the market will kind of take them from you. We can't predict what's going to happen in the immediate future. That's essentially all I wanted to look at in terms of charts for the day. I know it's a lot of information to cover, but again, we need to be aware of everything that's going on. We need to be aware of which assets are looking strong or weak in terms of kind of trend. Again, waiting for confirmation ideally and looking for a combination of both swing trade opportunities as well as spot accumulation opportunities. And then by kind of doing the two together, we're going to be able to compound our gains and then be more successful in the long run. So if you learned something new, if you like the content, please like, share, subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next one.